First question, can you tell me about a time you noticed a change in the environment?
Nope. I really have not. If I've noticed anything, is I feel like people are a lot more trash conscious than they used to be as far as littering. So I don't think people litter as much, so I don't think there's as much trash around, other than big cities, of course.
Yeah.
And Dad. But I feel like people are more conscious about littering, so I've noticed that. But as far as something else, I don't believe in litter.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't tell you when I noticed it. I
just have
people are more concerned about littering than they used to be, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you have to write any of this shit down?
What environmental issues do you think are the most important?
Environmental issues. Cleaning up people's trash is pretty important. So that's a pretty important.
So for me, I would say one of the more important environmental issues is like the industrial agriculture. So like the farm animals and how like they're being treated, and like how they're being pumped with like antibiotics and stuff like that.
So
yeah,
I feel like as far as the method you keep talking about, the industrial farming techniques, it's like one of those things. It sucks that we have to use like this shit, but if we stopped doing the animal factories and all that shit, I feel like most of us would fucking starve. Food would cost a lot more. Wouldn't be as affordable as it is now. It'd only go up. Yeah, like in a perfect world, we want to do better, obviously, for the animals and shit. Obviously, we want our diets to be better, the food that we're intaking to be better. But in the long run, that would cost a shit ton.
Right. Yeah, it would just cost a lot of money.
Yeah. So I totally get it. I always thought it'd be pretty sick to be able to do that shit, but
yeah, it definitely would be nice. It could happen one day, but all right. So the next question, what does eating ethically mean to you, and do you incorporate that into your food choices?
Really?
So yeah, eating ethically means making food choices that align with moral, environmental, and social values. So that could mean treating animals humanely, environmental impacts from food production, the treatment of agricultural workers, and sustainability. The best food choices to make that would align with eating ethically would consist of mostly plant-based foods or choosing animal products that have been raised responsibly. So supporting local farmers or food markets as they contribute least to the carbon footprint. That would be like what eating ethically means.
Okay. Yeah.
And like incorporating those type of foods into your food choices.
I definitely don't do that. As cheap as I can.
Yeah, it's definitely hard when everything's still pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And then like some of the alternative food like choices, they're still kind of pricey. But we'll talk about that in like one of these upcoming questions. So the next question would be, should ethical eating focus more on the environmental impacts of food production or the health of animals involved in a food system, or both? So yeah, should we be more concerned about the environmental impacts of food production or the health of animals that are involved in the food system?
Yeah, I mean, I guess both, because if we're going to be consuming this food, the animals are producing food for us, like dairy. We want the animals to be healthy, because then obviously that's going to have an impact on us consuming that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
And the environment.
It would definitely be best to focus on both, but even just focusing on one would make a difference. Industrial agriculture can have a negative impact on the environment, such as water pollution, overuse of water, deforestation, methane, carbon emissions, and many more negative impacts. Making better food choices like eating plant-based or low-impact animal products would put less of a strain on the environment. The health of animals in industrial agriculture is poor. Animals are placed in cramped spaces loaded up with antibiotics, fattened up quickly, and are slaughtered inhumanely. All of these practices industrial farms use are cruel and contribute to poor health. The animals are not raised ethically, and when we consume those animals, it is not good for our health. That's why it's better to consume animals raised in pastures or free range, as there should be no additives. Animals who roam free in any open pasture live longer, healthier lives. In return, us consumers will live longer, healthier lives as well. So yeah, it would be best to focus on both, but even just focusing on one would still make a difference.
Yeah.
Alright, next question. Do you think large-scale factory farming plays a part in the degradation of local ecosystems in the climate crisis?
Local ecosystems? So, like, obviously, like China's fields of corn, or are you talking about, like...
Just the factory farms. So, like, where all the animals are stored.
Do I think that has an impact on the local ecosystem?
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
Negatively. Or positively.
I feel like everything has a negative impact on fucking everything. You know, like, just like drinking too much water is bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you move in a big-ass farm to a new location, obviously it's going to have a negative impact.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so...
But it's like, what's the alternative? Everyone does grass-fed, free roaming. Again, it's like, it's just not sustainable. We've got people all around the world that don't even have access to food every day. So it's like, in a perfect world, it'd be great.
Right.
Especially if everyone else could have, like, if everyone could go back to, like, having their own, you know, being able to farm their own animals and farm their own vegetables and fruit and shit, but it's just not where we're at.
No.
Obviously, having a cleaner system, sit there and, you know, shit. But,
yeah, and it would be nice, but we've got, like, millions of people in this country.
yeah, 1 billion in fucking India, over 1 billion in China.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just no way you could do pasture raised for big populations like that, but I guess that's, like, where we need to have, like, new alternative farming methods that can keep up with the huge populations. But yeah, large-scale factory farming does lead to degradation of local ecosystems and the climate crisis. Factory farms require a lot of land. This leads to deforestation and destruction of ecosystems. Water pollution is another one. Manure that runs off from factory farms and ends up in water contains harmful toxins such as nitrogen and phosphorus. Not only do factory farms contaminate water sources, but they also overuse them. This overuse will drain up lakes and rivers and will lead to severe droughts. So, like, I'm sure you've seen, like, all the pictures from, like, California, like, when they use up all those rivers and lakes and there's just nothing left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Antibiotics in animal feed when it leads to antibiotic resistance in humans.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah. It would be unethical to use antibiotics in animal feed because it's only going to cause more issues. Antibiotics are used in factory farms due to overcrowding to prevent disease. These animals are getting pumped full of antibiotics, and this could lead to antibiotic resistance. Antibiotic resistance is a serious problem that will prevent antibiotics from fighting off harmful bacteria. The bacteria has mutated to a point where it will essentially become resistant to the effects of the medicine. The risk is low, but it is possible for antibiotics to get into our food, manure runoff, and wastewater. if humans were to be exposed enough to medicines such as antibiotics, then bacteria could become immune to its effects. This would be a serious health concern. Instead, we should prioritize animal and human health. Farming conditions should be improved, like pasture-raised or free-range farming, this would be a serious health concern. Instead, we should prioritize animal and human health. Farming conditions should be improved, like pasture-raised or free-range farming, which will reduce the chance of disease. Antibiotics should only be used when sick.